Hey, hey. All right, so in this video, we're going to learn two things that our teens, our young women in our lives, and we as the grown-ups tend to struggle with. These are kind of like big overlying concepts that when I work with clients, it really comes down to them being in resistance or struggling to these two things. But first, before I tell you, I'm going to share really quick here in my group my live, because I want you guys to hear this and I want everybody in my group to hear it. By the way, are you not in my group? If you're not in my group, you totally need to be. Here we go. Let me share here, share in a group. Okay, the two things that we struggle with the most. Here we go. All right, so there's two fundamental truths that we as humans struggle with. Now, when I tell you these on paper and as I speak to them, you're going to be like, yes, that's true. But I want you to think about how we go about our day-to-day lives and how we kind of live in resistance to these. The first one is that change is constant. Change is always happening. We are constantly evolving. We are constantly changing. We are changing schools. Our family dynamics are changing. We wake up every day different than we were the night before when we laid our head on the pillow. Our friends change. People move in of our lives. People move out of our lives, right? This is a fundamental truth, but it's one that I hear a lot of parents and a lot of my young clients struggle with. They struggle to accept that change, right? The second truth that we are really in resistance to, and I know nothing about this, trust me, I kid, is that people are who they are. We cannot change people. We cannot change them. We cannot control them. So how they behave, the words they say, the way that they act, we have no control over that. But yet, we really don't accept that. We really spend our days trying to affect or influence other people's behaviors, right? We either try and change who we are to get them to like and accept us, or we hope that they'll change. And it just brings us a lot of unnecessary drama and pain and frustration in our life when we're not accepting these two truths, when we're saying on paper, yes, I get it, but how we're behaving and how we're hoping to change circumstances in our lives really brings us a lot of unnecessary struggle and drama. So I'm not going to just present a problem to you without giving a helpful suggestion. And what I want to encourage you to do, if you have a young person in your life, if you have a teenager in your life, this is an exercise that I really like to do. You can do it any time of the year. It's good for grown-ups too. But this particular time of the year is perfect because the school year is not yet out, but it's kind of coming to an end. And everything, they're still in it. It's still fresh. It's kind of like, I always say, when you ask a kid how their day was, it's always good to try and get that information right when they get out of school because everything's still fresh in their minds and they're still kind of willing to talk about it, right? So it's beginning of May. Schools, most people have, and if you've picked your kid up from college, you can do this too. This is a great exercise. But most people have about another month in school, and this is a good time to do this. Now, if you're on my subscriber list, you're going to get an actual worksheet that will help you do this. Or if you are in my private Facebook group, Confident Moms Raising Confident Daughters, you'll also get a worksheet that I'm going to create that you can print out and do this with your son or daughter. So you better get on that. Go to CoachBetsy.com, and on the homepage you'll see I think a little pink button that says get help or something, sign up for my newsletter that you get each week. And then you can ask to join the Facebook group Confident Moms Raising Confident Daughters, which I am broadcasting live in there right now too. Okay, so here is the reason that we want to do this exercise. We want to show them through a series of questions and answers that change is constant, that people get to be whoever they are, and we still get to be whoever we are, and there's not anything wrong with that, right? Nothing has gone wrong. In fact, circumstances and people in our lives are put there for us, right? For our growth. They don't happen to us, okay? It feels like that. It feels like when our friends are making choices and treating us a certain way that it's something bad is happening to us, or we have to change schools, or a job changes, or a spouse isn't doing what we hope they would do or say or act, right? We feel like all those things are happening to us, that they're obstacles, that they're causing us pain and struggle, when really all of those things are in our lives for a purpose, and they're happening for us and for our benefit. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to just recap the year with your kid, and you're going to ask them questions like, what's the difference between, like, I was on a walk with my daughter the other day, and I'll just tell you, we were walking, and I said, what's the difference between Reese in August and Reese in May? Like, what are 3 things that have happened this school year that have changed you, and why do you think those things changed you? And what happened this year that you hoped would happen? And what happened this year that you didn't expect, right? And how did that situation happen for you? So all of these questions, I know I'm throwing them at you like rapid fire, but again, I'm going to put them in a worksheet for my people. So make sure you're one of my people. What advice would you give to someone that's going into whatever grade they're coming out of? What advice do you have for yourself? Like, looking back, knowing what you know now in May, what would you have told yourself in August? Not to look out for or not to worry about, right? Name someone you didn't know in the beginning of the school year that now you do. What did you learn from that person, right? This could be a person that was a nice surprise and a great friendship that you've cultivated over the years. This could be someone that is in your class and has annoyed you all year long, but why has that person been put in your life? What have you learned from that? Okay. What will you know starting next school year because of this school year, right? So again, just really kind of bringing around this idea that yes, so much has changed, but it's all been really for your benefit. And no one has to change their behavior for you to still grow from it and learn from it, and for you to be the best you that you can be, right? So it's really just doing 2 things. One is drawing that connection for everyone that change, so that the next time change occurs, or the next time they're struggling with friends, you can kind of loop this all back around, right? Give them the evidence that shows that they can handle this. That's one thing that our brain is really good at, is seeking out problems and evaluating problems, but we tend to go and focus on the drama and the problem and not the solution. And so this little exercise just really gives some meat to that. A lot of times you all are like, oh, I love what you put out, I love what you do, but how do you talk to your kid about these things? Well, this is one way, right? This is actually a little exercise. And I really encourage adults to do this too, because honestly, our kids, the way their brain development is, they're much more accepting. They're much more willing to do these things and to see it all kind of fall into place. Whereas as adults, our brains are a little more rigid, and we have problems. We actually have the problems. But, okay, so a couple things I want to tell you about. One is get on my subscriber list for my email, definitely. Join my Confident Moms Raising Confident Daughters private Facebook group. definitely. The other thing that I want to tell you about is I am super excited. If you are local, if you are here in Louisville or in the surrounding area, and you have a rising 7th or 8th grade daughter, I have put together a series of workshops this summer. There's going to be 4. There's going to be 2 in June and 2 in July. I'm releasing the details about that this week. So you want to let me know if you're interested in being on that list to get those details, because spots are going to be limited and they're going to fill up fast. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about this workshop. So recently I just did an event called Living with Screenagers, where we talked a lot about social media and all the time the kids are spending on technology. And we went over the statistics of what that's doing to our kids' mental health. Okay? We are seeing a dramatic rise in anxiety and depression in the adolescent girl. Okay, it's very acute in girls, more so than boys, but we're also seeing a change in boys as well. So, what I did was basically I created a series of workshops that addresses all of that without, of course, them even realizing what's happening. It's not like I'm going to get them all in a room and be like, okay, here's why you're depressed. But through games and activities and connection and hearing from older girls and having a mentor during part of their summer, which, by the way, is how these young brains are, that's what they're wired for. They're wired for bonding, nurturing, connecting, right? Tend and befriend is how us young ladies are wired for. But because we're spending so much time on social media and technology, we're seeing a rise in depression and anxiety because that's not how girls are wired. So they're kind of living in contradiction to how we're biologically engineered. So what I'm doing is I've put together a series of events that's going to bring them out. Let's get connected. Let's play some fun games. Let's talk about some things that they can work on this summer so that when they go back to school in 7th and 8th grade, they have just completely up-leveled their entire middle school experience, right? In one short little group of workshops that they're going to spend their summer doing, okay? They're going to be 2 hours. They're going to be on Tuesday nights. I'm trying to think of what else I can tell you. Topics are going to be all the stuff that I hear from my young clients all the time. I basically surveyed over 50 7th and 8th grade girls, okay? These are past clients. These are current clients. These are freshman and sophomore girls that have told me what they wish they would have known back in middle school. All the research I've done on screens and social media and technology, all of that recent stuff. Also, everything I know about the development of their brains. I took all of that and I created a 4-series workshop that will address all of these things and will help them. So you're going to want your daughter to be a part of it. Also, hello, y'all know I don't do anything without good food. So they're going to be served dinner, drinks, desserts, treats. They're going to get swag. We're going to make something every single workshop. They're going to get program materials. They're going to get some worksheets. They'll get some journals. Like, come on. So you're going to want to make sure that if you have a daughter or a teen girl in your life who is going to be in 7th grade next year or 8th grade next year, that you are on this list. And go do that exercise I talked about. Go on a walk tonight with your daughter. Go out for a stroll. Put the phones down and ask her some of these questions. Number 1, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot. She's going to learn a lot. You can share how you've changed since the beginning of her school year, what you didn't know, what you were pleasantly surprised by, what obstacles came up. How did you handle them? What strategies did you use? What would you have done differently? What would you have done the same? Just recap the year and do so in a very positive way and just keep bringing it back to, isn't that amazing? Like some of this stuff you didn't even know then, and now you know it, right? Okay, guys, I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll be back with another tip for you. Toodles.